we're gonna do the vehicle entering and exiting thing. First thing you want to do is get rid of all these player starts, because the last time I ran this test it just broke everything. Next, we have to add the third character blueprint. You don't need to if you already have a character. This is just so we can save some time. And then what we do is here in world settings, set the game mode to third person, but revert the HUD class back to the vehicle HUD. This is just so it shows the speed and everything when you're in the vehicle. Uh, next thing, um, just so this looks better, I'm gonna create a new NM blueprint using one of the characters from Mixamo because they have better animations. They have like a driving animation, and that's gonna help us a lot. So first, we import the idle if it works. No, come on. Oh, there we go. So the skeleton is gonna create the skeleton. It's gonna create the animations, the materials, and everything for us. So import. We can just ignore these alerts and just gonna rename stuff so it's easier to find later. So this is gonna be the robot uh, scuttle mesh. This is gonna be the robot skeleton. This is gonna be the physical asset. Have no idea where it showed the animation though. So I'm just gonna re-import it. This time I'm not gonna import the mesh, only the animation. So yeah, here we go. This is the idle animation. And for some reason it creates this idle take one. We can just delete it. And now the walking animation. If it imports, because sometimes it doesn't import. So let's go the whole way. Okay, let me see. Driving, walking, and running. So I don't need the mesh, only need the import animation. I'm just gonna rename everything. Oh shit. Robot running and robot walking. So this is all we need. This is we can delete. And let me just organize stuff here. Materials and move and animations and move. So okay, we're gonna work in the animations folder. I'm gonna create first a blank space 1D for the robot skeleton, and I'm gonna call it robot locomotion. So drag this here. Call this speed. Maximum 600, and then just a regular blend space setup. I prefer to do the walking closer down to the idle, just so it blends better. I messed up something, didn't I? Okay, here we go. Yeah, that's done now. So save, close. Doesn't want to save for whatever reason. Well, save now. Next, I'm gonna open the third-person blueprint, third-person character, and first thing we're gonna change the scuttle mesh. I use the robot. Uh, and a couple other things that I want to do here is add a is driving variable and expose it. So that's it for now for this guy. Um, Now next we need to add a socket in the car so we know where the player should sit. So not the blueprint, I need the vehicles, sedan, scale mesh. Cool. Oh, actually it's in the skeleton. So under vehicle base, we add a socket, call it driver seat, and place it at, I have some numbers jotted down here just to make it easier for it, 100. So that puts it roughly in the driver's seat. Cool. Next, we're gonna have to go back to the third person character and create a couple custom events here. So first one is start driving, where we set driving to true, obviously, and disable set collision, set actor collision enable to false. Next, obviously we need a stop drive event. Same thing, actually the opposite. Set is driving to false, and so what the hell is this? And set actor neighbor collision to true. The reason why we do this is because if you don't, when you teleport the player to inside the car just flies around. It's pretty goofy, but not something we want right now. So let me just do something here. No, that's not what I want. I want the YouTube app and this. Okay. Sorry for the delay here. Next, we set up the socket, we set up the BP. Now we go to the vehicle blueprint, and this is where the fun happens. So vehicle, sedan, open the blueprint. So first thing I want to do, because by default this template doesn't have a external, it doesn't turn the external the chase camera with the mouse, so we delete this branch, connect this over here, and on this one, instead of just using uh, the internal camera, we get a select. It's a pretty handy node that I found out just like a couple days ago. So we want to do this boolean. If it's false, no. If it's true, we get the internal camera. If it's false, we get the chase camera. And what determines if it's true or false is this is-in-car variable. Yeah, I'm using it all the time now after I discovered it. I used to do switches, not very uh, efficient. I mean, in terms of being able to do stuff. And here we do the same thing. Just copy this, paste this, and set the target. I think this is how I did it in the other template. Yeah. So hopefully that's gonna work. Now I'm gonna add just something here to make our lives easier. When the player exits the car, since I'm not using enter and exit animations, I'm just teleporting. So I think it's easier to just have a component to tell me where should I teleport the player when he exits the car. So I'm gonna use a arrow component and call it driver exit and place it just off the car to the side. Doesn't matter really much where. So we're gonna add a few variables here. First one is gonna be current driver. This is gonna tell us obviously who's driving the car. Just in case you want to make this working with multiplayer, we're gonna set it to third person character. And object reference. Next one is nothing. Sorry, I'm doing this from a list of notes that I wrote down. Uh, let's go to event graph. Add a input. So obviously, if you want to do this properly, you'd go to project settings and add inputs. But I'm lazy, so I'm just gonna do keyboard F for entering and exiting the vehicle. I'm sorry, this is not gonna go here. It's gonna go in the player. But first, we're gonna create a custom event called drive and add a new input called driver, also of type third person character or whatever your character blueprint is. And then we check if this is valid. Oops, sorry. If it is, we set it to current driver. I'm sorry, I got this mixed up. We get current driver, and if that is not valid, we do what we have to do. So if not valid, we set the current driver here is to whatever the input from the event is. The reason for that is if someone is already driving this car, we just ignore the drive event. So next, we attach the driver to the driver seat. So target is the current driver. Parent's gonna be the mesh, and socket name is gonna be driver seat. So location, snap to target. rotation, net target, scale, we don't care. Next, we're gonna call start. We're gonna call start driving on the current driver. And we're gonna possess. We need to turn off context sensitive for this. Possess self with the current driver's controller. Well, get controller. This is it for when we enter the vehicle. Now, when we exit the vehicle, we're gonna create another custom event. Exit vehicle. We're gonna detach from component mesh. I'm sorry. We're gonna detach from actor actually. I'm gonna do a teleport the current driver again to the driver exit component. So we're gonna get row transform, right click, split pin, get the location. The rotation, we only care about yaw, so I'm gonna split this as well and split this and just connect the yaw. If you don't do this, if you just plug in the rotation, if the car turns out to be like tilting because you're making a turn or sliding or whatever, your player is gonna be tilted. You may want that, you may not want that. I don't want it. So after this, we call possess. Again, turn off context sensitivity. In pawn is the current driver, and target's gonna be get controller. So we're gonna take the controller from the sedan blueprint and pass it to the third-person character blueprint. Then we're gonna set current driver to nothing, and this is just so we can actually run to the car again. We're gonna stop movement immediately. It doesn't stop the movement as immediately as I'd like. So, oh, sorry. Well, it should stop movement. Oh, I have to pass vehicle movement. Okay, sorry about that. So it doesn't stop as immediately as I like, but it's good enough. So next, back to the third person character. I'm gonna add a here I'm gonna add the keyboard F event. So when it's pressed, I'm gonna call, gonna get overlapping. Oh, sorry, I forgot to do something. In the sedan blueprint, just add a box volume. That's gonna be, uh, is it box collision? I don't think so. Yeah, I think it is. So this is gonna be the trigger. Okay, so box extent should be something like 100, maybe 150 and 50. And we probably want to move it up so it overlaps the doors. Optionally, you could set it to overlap the entire car with some room. That's up to you. If you want if you want the player to get into from like the back of the car or the front, doesn't matter. So now we gonna get overlapping actors of class sedan. So this is where if you want to do any sort of smart logic to figure out if you have like several cars come together, if you want to do like a trace, a environment query, whatever you want to do to decide what car you're gonna get into, I'm gonna just gonna get the first. So get a copy of the first car that's overlapping. Uh, Cast to sedan. And just gonna call drive. And the drive is gonna be self. So this is it. Now I didn't do the exit part, did I? Of course not. Yeah, this is where I got it wrong. You don't need this custom event. You just do the keyboard F event. I in my test I created a enter exit vehicle, so that's why I confused it. So okay, if you want to do it with a custom event, go for it. Another thing I forgot is to create the NM blueprint for the robot, so we know whether or not we're driving. So go back to animations here. Animation blueprint. Gonna call it. Oh, sorry, the robot skeleton. Call it robot NMBP. Cool. Now we wanna get the locomotion, sorry, robot locomotion, blend space. I'm gonna promote this to a variable. Call it speed. We're gonna add a blend by bowl. So this is gonna be our false pose. The true pose is gonna be the driving animation. And the active value we're going to promote to a variable and call it is driving. And this is just a regular anim blueprint uh, workflow where you get owning actor, cast to third person character, get is driving, update is driving, and try and get Paul owner, get velocity, forward get no where is it again? Oh, it's vector length, and set this to speed. And go back to the third person character, select the mesh, and use the robot NMBP. Now, hopefully that's gonna work. First thing, let's just drop the sedan here somewhere, and then drop a player start somewhere close to the car. So got your fingers crossed. Let's see if this works. So here's the NM blueprint. It runs. So let's see if it enters the car. It does. And now we can drive around. This car physics are absolute crap, as most people know. So then we stop and oh damn it, that's not good. Did I enable physics? Did I enable collision? After stop driving, set actor enable collision. Yes. Target self. Oh, I think it has to be the capsule. Oops. Now this should be for the entire actor. Huh. What did I forget about? Maybe just the exit. It's too low. Let Nope. Oh, it's not this. Okay, save. Set actor enable collision. This is what I should. Oh, shit. I forgot to call the stop driving event. So this is, I should do this after I clear current driver, obviously. So I'm gonna get current driver and call stop driving. Haha. Yeah, bug fixing is always fun. But yeah. So now it should work. So drive,